So I just wanted to do an extra little video on the electrical infrastructure because I was obviously touching that on my last video. Now this is Prince's Tower. It's in Bournemouth Square. Now the official explanation is that it is a temporary structure erected for the visit of the Prince and Princess of that time. I really question this, considering what I will show you next to prove my point. But just a couple of little things to notice. I mean, if you look on the top, it looks like there's several aerials coming off the top. I'm not doubting that it's decorated to an extent, but there are definitely aerials coming off the top. So this is an artist's impression of the event. It's funny how they always have drawings and engravings of these events, isn't it? When contradicting images crop up. See it in many engravings, many drawings. Now for me, that looks like a different structure. It's more cluttered, don't you think? And have they made it appear more cluttered to sway over there to their side of the argument? Because if you look on there, I think it's a metal structure just decorated. Not a temporary piece of cardboard like that looks. Because for me, that hardly even looks like the same monument, or whatever you want to call it. I will also show you some other evidence of towers that were built around exactly the same time. So this is New Brighton Tower. They say it was built sometime between 1898 and 1900. Neglected during the First World War and required renovation the owners could not afford, dismantling of the tower began in 1919, 1 year after World War One, which I'm starting to find could possibly be significant. Wembley Tower, or sometimes known as Watkins Tower. This was a partly built tower in London, Wembley, that was apparently part of a competition where this design was won and was inspired by the Eiffel Tower. I believe work started around that time, so 1890-ish, and it was finished it was only part finished in 1894, but this was the original design, I believe, that they say won. But again, same time period, 1890, very strange story around it. So another thing I just noticed as well, if you look on the spelling of the word on this side, it says princess. So I know you can argue this is a shot from the other side, but my hunch is, have they got the spelling wrong? As someone said, it's Princess Tower, because if you look on the photo, it clearly says Princes with one S. And you also have to question, because this is always the case when these things crop up, you get like a painting or engraving backing up the official narrative. You never get photos from several different angles which would prove our case. Right, for those of you who don't know, this is basically what you call a modern day transformer. It's a key component in most electronics as it steps voltage up. Inside, so that the yellow top is just a protective coating. Basically, wire is wrapped around a plastic case, which is that there. And then not all of them, but most will have a hole in the middle, which you put a bit of metal in the middle, depending on what it's for. But just hold that thought. So here's an item that was found in Weymouth in 1896. Now, going on what I just showed you, do you think that could possibly work on a similar concept? So wire being wrapped around the outside with something going through the middle? They may have used a different material to metal. You don't know. It's all to do with magnetism. I won't go into and bore you with the details, but yeah, could that possibly have had metal wrapped around it at some point? And could that have been the old way that they used components as, like I've mentioned before, if money wasn't an object, would you just use the most convenient material out there that wouldn't obviously conduct electricity, obviously be an insulator? And what would be the most obvious choice? So this is some coils that I found when I was exploring an underground suspected railway line. Well, it is an underground railway line. I'll show you in a sec. But this was just basically coming out of the ground. So, I mean, this is old world abandoned stuff. I mean, it's been turned into a drain. I'll show you the video anyway. It'll be easier to explain. Get some sugar or something. Oh, into the ground. What is that? Loads of these. Should just come out of the ground. Coils. And yeah, the one I brought up in my last video. That metal rod is obviously going right through the stone. And I don't think it's just for support. I originally think something was on the top of that, and it looks more like a fitting. Again, I think it backs up that the churches are more likely to be old electrical infrastructure than religious places. And I know that's going to be very controversial, guys, but I strongly encourage you to look in your town, because I'm pretty sure it's not unique to Bournemouth. I really don't think it is the case. I'm only going off research that I've looked into online, and I wanted to check it out for myself, like I do with everything. I want to see the physical evidence myself. And guys, I've found loads of it.